Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to take a look at the most valuable, most expensive illustration rares from the Scarlet and Violet block so far. We're in a period where Temporal Forces has been out for a little while now. We are still weeks away from the release of Twilight Masquerade. You put all of that together, and what do you get? Well, you get yourself a very nice time to have a very nice chat about, which are the most expensive illustration rares. And one on this list that makes no sense and still drives me crazy, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So starting off then, worth noting, there are none from Obsidian Flames, no, not even the Charizard, and there are none from Scarlet and Violet base, not even the Gardevoir, even though other versions of those exact cards do appear on this list, which is weird. Starting at number 10 with the Paldean Fates Gardevoir coming in at about $55. Again, the one from Scarlet and Violet doesn't make the list, not even close, not even halfway. But the one from Paldean Fates does. And it's still a great card. It's still seen a bunch of playing success, even post-rotation. Gardevoir is an absolutely top deck. So essentially what we're left with here is the inescapable conclusion that Gardevoir is a very, very good card, and this is the coolest version of Gardevoir. And if it wasn't, the other version would probably be more expensive. This is also the newer version, which is worth pointing out. In at number 9, we got Roaring Moon at $60, the only representative from Paradox Rift. Now, this is interesting to me, because we're going to see that Temporal Forces is, as we get up the list, it is unevenly represented. It is more represented than we would generally imagine. So, that's kind of interesting. But then we go, oh, well, hang on a second, it's the new set. Well, of course. But then this is kind of a newer set as well. And it's just not that represented. Roaring Moon is the best deck to come out of that set. Yes, I know we got Iron Hands, but it's not a deck. And it's a great card. Sees a bunch of play. And the artwork is stunning, and I do think that's very, very important. People playing Roaring Moon want to play this artwork. So yeah, that makes sense. In at number 8, one of those cards that I mentioned from Temporal Forces, we've got Raging Bolt coming in at $65. I like Raging Bolt. I think Raging Bolt is a very, very, very good card. Now, it's not really doing numbers in the West. It's seen some success in Japan. It's not really seen a huge amount of success in the West as it stands at the moment. It's just not really seeing a huge amount of play over on the top tables. But it's got potential coming out of its ears. We've got a fairly lovely attack that for 1 energy, 1 colorless energy, lets you discard your hand and draw 6 cards. We've got an attack that can do near infinite damage, discard any number of basic energy from all of your Pokemon, dealing 70 for each one discarded. We've got 240 HP and no weakness. There's so much to love here. And of course, the artwork by T-Zero is stunning. In at number 7, we've got the Iono from Paldea Evolved coming in at $80. And this is another one of those where there's 2 versions and we have a clear and obvious winner. Yes, there was another one in Paldean Fates. Yes, the one from Paldean Fates is a beautiful card. It lost. I prefer the one from Paldean Fates for what it's worth. I do like the one from Paldea Evolved because it reminds me of Pokemon Sweets. That makes me very, very happy. But honestly, I just think this is a decent card. I think they're both very, very nice. And people have made a decision. This is the better of them. Obviously, Iono is a staple in basically every deck. Makes both players shuffle a hand, put them on the bottom of the deck, drawing number of cards equal to their remaining prizes. It's very clearly a great, great card. And essentially, people have made their decision. Now, in at number 6, we've got the special illustration rare of Iron Crown. And that is another one from the recently released Temporal Forces set. But this one makes a lot more sense, to me at least, than a lot of the others. The future deck is getting a lot of hype coming out of Temporal Forces, and I mean, look, I was, when I was at EUIC, a lot of people were asking me for my opinion, and I was saying Future Box, and all I'm saying is, if we have a look at the top 8 of EUIC, there were 2 Future Box decks in the top 8 of EUIC. We had Uwe Axelson at 5th, and Yuho Kalama at 6th. This is a phenomenal card, and basically for as long as future decks are going to be good, this is going to be a staple, and yeah, that's basically what you need to know. Plus, artwork here, stunning. I prefer the Ancient Paradox Pokemon in terms of the special illustration rares, but I can still see how great the future ones are. In at number 5, the last one from Temporal Forces, we've got Morty coming in at $85. By the way, you might notice some of these, like Iron Crown and Iono, I've put as the same number, but I've had a good look around TCG Player, eBay, etc. So even where I'm putting them at the same number, that's roughly what they come out to the nearest $5. But I assure you, I've had a good look round and broken the tie. I feel good about the order. So we got Morty here. This is another card from Temporal Forces. It is a supporter card, and here it's pure artwork. And it's the fact that it's got Gengar on it, and it's just a lovely card. Morty is fine. Morty is not a good enough card to get on this list on its own merits. Morty is not a playable enough card for us to go, well, you know, we need the best version of it. Nah, mate. Discard a card from your hand, draw a card for each of your opponent's bench. It's fine. It is not good enough. It is the fact that it's a stunning card with Gengar on. That's what gets it so far up the list. In at number 4, we've got the Mew from Paldean Fates coming in at $85. Again, it's tied with Morty, but it's a little bit higher. And I have different feelings about this, because on the one hand, I love that people are recognizing how great this card is. I love, it's the only card Uskerman's done for the Pokemon TCG. It's absolutely amazing. It is just a phenomenal card, and it's Mew that's really popular, and it's very playable. So, you look at all of this, and it's got all the ingredients. On the other hand, I don't have this card. I really want it. I'd rather not have to go and pay $85 for it, but what am I going to do? I might have to just bite the bullet and do it. In at number 3, the card that really makes no sense to me on this list, it is Magikarp coming in at $100. And when I looked at TCG Player and saw this, I thought, oh, TCG Player, putting the price of these cards up ridiculously. I'll go look at eBay. And then I looked on eBay and it was like a $100 card. And I kept looking around, assuming that in the near future, I'd find the thing that basically told me, oh, okay, it's been... No, maybe it was manipulated at some point. Maybe people have been just putting the price up. That is a possibility. But however it started, however it's gone on, this card is just that expensive. And it's kind of ridiculous. And it makes no sense. Like, over in Japan, this card is a 2,500 yen card. You can pick up the Japanese version of this all day long for 2,500 yen. Which, look, you know it's not $100, yeah? I'm assuming you've all figured that out. But if you want to know what 2,500 yen is, well, get ready. We are looking at the whopping sum of $16. It's a $16 card in Japan. And yes, that is still expensive for an illustration rare. It is by far the biggest illustration rare in the set. It's almost 4 times the second place. But this is a card that makes no sense. Generally speaking, the more expensive cards in Japan are the more expensive cards over here. Something happened to this Magikarp. It is a $100 card. And I keep looking around and I keep trying to figure it out. And it is a $100 card. That's what it's ended up as. But that is ridiculous. This should not be a $100 card. The idea that this is a $100 card is a little bit dumb. But I've looked around in a lot of different places, and the reality is this is a $100 card. It just, and look, the art is absolutely stunning. No argument there. It is a phenomenal looking card. But if you love this card, do yourself a favour, find the Japanese version. Because the English version at $100 is absolutely ridiculous. Coming in at number 2, a far more deserving card, the Charizard from 151 at $100. I told you the one from Obsidian Flames didn't make the list, and it doesn't. This one does. This isn't the playable Charizard. This is the bad Charizard. The one that, Charizard's the best deck in the game right now, and some of the earlier lists for Charizard were playing a one-off tech of this one from 151. Those days are gone. This isn't in there anymore. It's the bad Charizard, but it's got stunning artwork. It's still a Charizard. And that's kind of your explanation, honestly. And then in the number 1, the other Charizard from Paldean Fates at $110. And here's what's weird, right? Number 2, Charizard from 151. Number 1, Charizard from Paldean Fates. But a Charizard from Obsidian Flames, which is the same basic card, mechanically, as the number 1 card on our list, by the same artist, doesn't make the list. That's weird, right? Now, obviously, this one from Paldean Fates, look, it is an absolutely ridiculous, stunning card. It is one of the best looking cards we've had in the block. It is the best deck in the game right now, and it is. It just is. The final of the Champions League that we just saw in Japan the other day, that was a Charizard mirror match. Winner of EUIC, European International Championships, that was Charizard. It's not just the most played deck, it is the best deck. There's no argument at this stage. Charizard has got all the data behind it. It is the best deck in the format, and this is clearly, the people have spoken, the best version of it. So there we go. There's your explanation. People have talked about the pull rates being a little bit lower in Paldean Fates. I've not got enough data to back that up, but all I can tell you is this card is number 1, and it's pretty clear. So there we go. That's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me which of these cards you pulled. Tell me which of these cards are your favourite. Tell me if there's any you've been meaning to pick up, but just haven't got round to it yet. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely William Shaw, who's been a supporter of ours for a long time now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.